In 2015, Adria celebrated its 50th anniversary. Now, a year on, those celebrations are still going on. To mark the fact, it's launched two new caravans, the brand new Eden and this, a special edition version of the Isonzo, or to be more precise, the Adria, Adora, Isonzo 613 DT Silver Collection. Now, as the name suggests, the Silver Collection is silver, which does tie it in more closely with the range-topping Estella line. And it also brings with it masses of kit. In fact, if you totted up the extras on this caravan, it should cost around 3,200 quid more than the standard Isonzo. But in fact, it's only £1,000 more list price at a little over £19,000, which seems like phenomenal value for money. It looks pretty fantastic as well. I've got the odd quibble about the exterior here. Those steady winder bolts are going to be pretty hard to reach. But otherwise, it's a fine looking caravan and there's masses of kit on it. Particularly, and this is quite special for the Adora, there's Aldi wet central heating inside. As soon as you step aboard this caravan, you realise just how wide it is. I mean, these sofa bases are pretty deep and I have to say very comfortable, but I can still stretch my legs right out, even touching the other sofa. That's great. This lounge is largely unchanged from the standard Isonzo, apart from, of course, silver upholstery and silver curtains. Otherwise, it's a nice space to be in. We've got that huge sunroof overhead, 3 windows at the front, and on this example, no front chest. There's an extra seat there and a little fold-up table. One other change for 2016 in the lounge area is underneath the sofa cushions. These bed boxes have got proper sprung beech slats in them now, and of course you've got to pull them out to meet in the middle to make up an enormous front double bed. If you're more a fan of IKEA than a traditional English country kitchen, then this galley is for you. It really is a lovely, clean, logical design. I really like the fact that you get huge great drawers and large cupboards above. In the main, it's unchanged from the 2015 Isonzo. However, there are a couple of crucial differences. For a start, there's this enormous slimline tower refrigerator. That also makes space for more countertop, which means more worktop. And the oven and grill, which were formerly mounted up here, possibly dangerously high, have been moved to a much more traditional location underneath the hob. The hob itself, if I just remove this drainer, is the classic 3-in-line Adria affair, which drains directly into the stainless steel sink. Always a useful detail. On the other side of the caravan, we've got a colossal domestic style wardrobe, shelved down one side with masses of hanging space and room for your shoes underneath. Really, really practical, particularly if you're going to spend a long time in the van. And just to the side of it, I always like to see this, the table mounted right by where it's actually going to be needed. Thank you very much, Adria. Go around any caravan show, take a look at all the transverse island bed models, and they're pretty much of a muchness. A fairly narrow bed that's also fairly short, with a his and hers wardrobe on either side, and a neat little dressing table in one corner. But not the Isonzo. It is a transverse island bed layout, as you can see, because I'm sitting on it, but it really doesn't work in the same way. That enormous wardrobe that we saw earlier means that you don't need those piddly little his and hers wardrobes on either side of the bed, and instead you get a rather nice little dressing table, ideal for your mug of tea, several books, whatever you like, a few toiletries perhaps. There's a couple of drawers beneath too, and each side gets a reading light. The bed is also much, much bigger than you would expect in this type of layout. However, there is the odd drawback to that. There isn't room for the dressing table. But because of this van's huge width, it's actually 2.45 metres wide, it doesn't need to be retractable, so there's plenty of room to get around the foot of the bed to make the access easier. Also, being an Adria, it's got the rather nice touch of these little prop-up backs, so if you like to sit and read during the day on the bed, it's a comfortable place to do it. Another unusual feature is that there's a window on either side of the bed. One at the head, one at the foot. Some people might prefer a traditional headboard, but it does fill the room with light. Just like the kitchen, however, there's only one plug socket. The washroom takes its styling cues from Big Brother Estella. It's a very smart place to be. The shower doesn't have a one-piece moulded liner, but of course it's waterproof, and there's some neat lighting options in there. There's a low-set, transparent bowl sink, plus a frosted window, and a rather neat built-in chromed loo brush. This van is plated at 1,750 kilos, so you are going to need a pretty big tow car to pull it. However, that aside, there's very few criticisms to be made about this van. With a transverse island bed layout, generally there are plenty of compromises, but you just can't say that with the Isonzo. It does work particularly well inside. Chuck in all of that extra kit with the silver collection and it makes it a very appealing package at an even more appealing price.